Losing fat can be extremely hard, but in this video, I'm gonna involve 4 steps on how you can lose over 20 pounds in just 30 days. Stay tuned to the end of the video because when we get closer to the ending steps, they're the most important. My name is Troy Sutton, owner of Trojan Coaching, and I'm gonna be the one helping you today. Step 1 is understanding calorie expenditure. On the graph here to my right, I'm gonna talk you through it and help you understand it a bit better. The top 10% is taken up by just exercise. And a lot of people have the understanding to think that they have to burn all their calories throughout the day just by exercise. So many people have came to me and saying, Troy, how do I burn 2,200 calories a day? And quite frankly, that's impossible. And if you did, you would probably die. But a lot of people don't understand that the exercise is the smallest portion of your calorie expenditure throughout the day. The following 25% is your NEAT. This stands for the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which basically means everything but exercise. So this is doing your necessary things like walking around, getting up out of bed, which for some people is a sit-up. Basically your day-to-day stuff, walking around the shopping market, picking your groceries out, that is what your NEAT is. And the following 5% beneath this is the smallest part of this entire calorie expenditure, is your thermic effect of meals. Who would have thought that you would burn calories just by digesting your meals? I might sound like I'm lying, this is science. To explain this a bit better for people that aren't quite understanding is basically when you put food in your mouth and you chew it and digest it, you've basically just burned the calories. Now the largest percent, roughly in between 50 and 55%, is your basic metabolic rate, which is just quite simply keeping you alive. Things like your heart beating. It sounds ridiculous, but this is burning calories. And a lot of people don't understand this is the main portion of your actual calorie expenditure throughout everyday basis. So what I'm telling you is, and the average human being would burn about 1,000 calories a day just being alive. Which brings us on to the other end of the scale, which is step number 2, is understanding your calorie intake. So, the food plan. We've talked about calorie expenditure, now it's very important to understand our calorie intake to make sure it's not all thrown out the window. Understanding your calorie intake is so important within your fat loss journey. And a lot of people have the understanding that if they do loads of exercise, it doesn't really matter what they eat. When in reality, you are just fucking it. So let me talk you through the key components on making sure you choose the diet program for you. Just to make things easier, I have made a video on a complete diet program for fat loss, which I will tag at the end of the video. It will come up on a pop-up on the screen. You can just head over straight to that one. But don't go now because it's important you understand the rest before doing a diet program. The key to having a successful diet program is your protein intake. For anybody that doesn't know, the macronutrient protein takes the longest to digest compared to carbohydrates or fat. Therefore, the more we consume, the longer it takes to digest, therefore, the fuller we feel for longer. And if we feel full, the cravings won't be as so hard, so you're not going to be sitting in bed late at night craving food because guess what? You're satisfied. The perfect protein number is 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you're 180 pounds, your goal is 180 grams of protein per day. And my guarantee is if you continue to eat that, you're gonna feel full, you're gonna get amazing recovery in the gym because remember, protein is the most important macronutrient, which is gonna fund your activity levels, it's gonna fund your recovery of your muscle, and overall growth in general. And without protein, what you can expect is a diet full of carbohydrates and fats. It's gonna make you feel overall sluggish, your bad food choices, and you're gonna be hungry 24/7. And well, if you're hungry 24/7, what's that gonna lead to? Overeating. Which doesn't really partner up with your current goal at the moment to lose 20 pounds in 30 days. Here's a couple of tips and tricks to get the most out of your diet. Number 1 is intermittent fasting. I like to do a 12 to 14 hour intermittent fasting window to help reduce the amount of time I have to eat. Now this isn't gonna burn fat in itself, but what this is gonna do is help you reduce your calorie intake, which then will help you burn fat. I fast every single day from 8 p.m. until 10 a.m. And if I can go further than that, I will. At the time of recording this video, it is currently 1 p.m. and I still haven't had my breakfast and I'm pretty fucking hungry. But my point being is when I have my breakfast and when I have my lunch, it's going to be already 4 p.m. And my eating window is closing in 4 hours time, which doesn't give me a lot of time to cheat on my diet. So making sure that you choose an eating window that's going to be beneficial towards your school or your work routine is going to be key. Number 2 is creating balance in your diet. It's so important to ensure that you're having your favorite foods in your diet. And I know this may be controversial towards most of other videos that you've watched. You know, you have to go keto, you have to cut out chocolate. That's not the case for me. And I mean, you can believe them or you can believe somebody that's got thousands of results with fat loss. It's your choice, really. What creating a balance will do within your diet is including some chocolate, including some chips, whatever you enjoy. This is gonna help build a great relationship with fat loss to a point where if you ever need to do this again, you don't have a bad attitude towards it. You can imagine how depressed you would be if you cut every single thing out of your diet that you remotely enjoyed. Chocolate, Coca-Cola, and the occasional Fanta. That is my balance. I like sugary drinks, I like chocolate. Which brings me on to my next point, which is lower calorie options. Right here we have Coke Zero, which in my opinion, it might be controversial, tastes the exact same as normal Coke. And since I crave chocolate, I go for the dark chocolate option, 78%. Wanted the 80%, but they didn't have any in stock. Now this isn't saying normal milk chocolate is bad, but this is just, I can have more of it for less calories. Could you imagine I can still lose fat while eating bread? Don't do keto, that's for another video. As mentioned, there will be a video tagged at the very end of this video, so you can just head straight over to there, but that pretty much sums up the fat loss plan. Now on to exercise. Now we're on to step number 3, which is your training plan. As I've shown you before, 15% on the top of our calorie expenditure chart is going to be exercise, so it's important that you do the right things. I couldn't recommend resistance training as much as I do for everybody. Regardless what stage you are in your journey, if you're coming off a huge weight loss journey, you physically feel sore getting out of bed, resistance training is key. If you have a leg injury, that's not meaning you can't stop resistance training, you're still going to continue it with your arms. My point being is regardless what stage you are in your journey and regardless how much you struggle with easy things, resistance training will always help. Of course it comes in different levels. You have the bodybuilder style, and then as well as that you have simple home workouts like resistance bands. Make do with what you have, and if you have resistance bands and you're lucky to have any equipment at home, but you feel too uncomfortable to go to a gym, then do whatever you can. Pay close attention to my channel because I will be doing a complete home workout to help you out, but that's for another video. I would recommend at least 3 times a week performing 30 to 45 minutes of resistance training. And then as well as that, I would recommend increasing your daily activity, which I give to myself and all my clients is at least 8,000 steps a day. And I think it's very reasonable because when you do 8,000 steps for the first time, you'll actually realize how easy it is to get. For people that work from home at an office desk, that's your biggest excuse. Go down and go for an evening walk, clear your head, and you'll have so many benefits like digestion, your mindset, and well, weight loss. If you are lucky enough to be in the position to have a gym membership, my go-to exercise is the treadmill. It's as simple as putting it on an incline walk, you can get your steps and you can also boost your heart rate up over 120, which is going to be ideal for burning fat. But it's important that you find an exercise that most importantly, you enjoy. Try things out. We have the treadmill, we have the Stairmaster, we have an elliptical, we have a rower machine. Try everything out. Whichever you enjoy, put it into your schedule because you're more likely to do the things that you like. Don't fall down the rabbit hole of doing 6 to 7 day workouts when realistically it's not maintainable. Look at your work schedule. If you can fit in 3, then just do 3. Because what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for failure and that's just going to lead to demotivation. Which now brings us on to step number 4. In my opinion, the most important part, tracking progress. A lot of people currently in their weight loss journey will be obsessed to the scale. They'll stand on the scale every day, or even worse, every single Monday, and if they don't see the number they want, it will let it depict the rest of their week. Then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you have the idea as your diet, it's not working, so let's just eat whatever I want. I'm not saying weighing yourself is bad. It's a great form of progression tracking, but there is other things that you want to add in as well. We have things like measurements. We have things like progress photos to track visual presentation. We also want to track things like mental health, energy levels, and overall digestion. If you don't track every single one of these things accurately, you're going to get a really bad idea of weight loss in general. You need to understand that progress can come in multiple different forms, and it's not all about the scale number. Because has this ever came through your head? Maybe the reason you didn't go down on the scale that Monday is probably because you grew muscle tissue. That probability is very high for people starting out in the resistance training journey, and you are just so obsessed with the number on the scales that you think you're not progressing. When in reality, you could just be building muscle as well. Now, when we come on to measurements, this is probably my favorite form of progress tracking. There's nothing like when you see that inch drop off your waist and you're overall looking better in the mirror. Because in reality, regardless of the number on the scales, that's the look we're trying to chase. We're trying to chase body confidence. We're trying to chase an aesthetic looking body so it's looking good for Instagram. And if we did have that, we wouldn't care what's on the scales. So don't let it ruin your life right now. And we can use all this tracking data to actually help progress our journey and keep going forward. If we see no progress on the scales, we see no progress in measurements, and we see no progress in our photos either, and it's been 4 to 5 weeks, it's probably time to switch up your diet. And I'm not talking about going keto, and I'm not talking about going carnivore. It's as simple as dropping 100 calories off your diet. The reason you keep failing is because you're making it so hard for yourself. So quite simply, take back 100 calories off your diet and enjoy your life. But again, if you see no progress, just drop another 100 calories calories. It's really not rocket science. Now, whilst following these 4 steps and being patient, I have no doubt that you could potentially lose 20 pounds in the next 30 days. This is all gonna come down to your current body composition. If you're 15% fat, there's a low chance that you're gonna lose 20 pounds because there's probably not even 20 pounds to come off you in the first place. But if you are in a stage where you're currently suffering with obesity, this is gonna be a piece of cake for you. With that being said, that wraps up the video of the 4 steps that I would choose in order to get the best progress in your fat loss journey. And if this is something that you are really serious about, you can use the link in the description, and I've recorded a free webinar that you can watch. This webinar consists on every single stages that I use for me and my thousands of other clients that get amazing results. And if you do want a more one-to-one personal touch, there is also another link to book a call in with me directly. With that being said, that wraps up the video. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you all in the next one.